Hello everyone. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter 3, and the name of the chapter is Playing with Numbers. Now seems very interesting. So let us see how can we play with the numbers. So first of all, the first topic is factors and multiples. Now what is factor and what is multiple? So let us see. What is factor? A factor is an exact divisor of that number. Means a factor is such a number which can completely divide or exactly divide the other number. It will be clear by looking at the example. You can see the numbers 1, 2, 3 and 6 are the factors of the number 6. Say we have a number 6. So these numbers 1, 2, 3 and 6 are the factors. Means these numbers can completely divide this 6. It will be more clear if we see this. If we divide the number 6 by 1, since 1 is a factor, it gives us 6. So it has divided. We got an answer. Similarly, if we divide 6 by 2, we get 3. So it has also divided it completely. Similarly, if 6 is divided by 3, we get 2. And if 6 is divided by 6, we get 1. So since we got a definite value, after we divide 6 with these numbers, since we get a definite value, or we can say since 6 is completely divisible by these numbers, so we can say that these numbers are the factors of 6. I hope this is clear to you. Now moving on, what is multiple? A multiple of a number is that number multiplied by an integer. Now, a multiple of a number is that number which is multiplied by an integer. Now from the definition it is not that clear, I know. Let us see an example. The multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18 and 24 and dot dot dot. Dot 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 means it can go up to infinity. So let us see. If we multiply 6 with an integer 1, we get 6. If we multiply 6 with the next integer 2, we get 12. If we multiply 6 with the next integer 3, we get 18. If we multiply 6 with the next integer 4, we get 24, and so on. So whatever answers we get after multiplying that number with the integers, that is the natural numbers also we can say, with the integers, so whatever result we get, these are called the multiples of that number. Which number? These are the multiples of 6. Clear? Now moving on. Next is properties of factors. There are some properties of factors. So let us see what are those. First is, 1 is a factor of every number. Let us see an example. You can see 6 divided by 1, 6, 7 divided by 1, 7, 13 divided by 1, 13, etc. So 1 can divide any number. So that is why 1 is a factor of every number, even 1 itself also. Now next is, every non-zero number is a factor of itself. Why the term non-zero is used? Because we are not considering here the negative numbers or the 0. We are considering only the non-zero, means which are the positive ones. So every non-zero number is a factor of itself. Let us see an example. Say the number, we can divide that number by itself. So that number itself is a factor of that number. You can see here, 7 is itself a factor of 7, 13 is itself a factor of 13. So the number itself is a factor of itself, you can say. But it has to be non-zero. Next is, every factor of a number is an exact divisor of that number. Every factor of a number is an exact divisor of that number. Let us see in the example. Say every factor of a number. So what are the factors of 6? We have already seen 1, 2, 3 and 6. So by the definition itself, we know that whenever the number has to be a factor, it should completely divide that number, or it should be a exact divisor of that number. Only then we can say it is a factor. Say for example here 1, 2, 3 and 6 are the factors of 6. So how it became a factor of 6? Because it completely divides 6, or you can say it is an exact divisor of 6. That is why they are the factors of 6. Now next, moving on. A factor of a non-zero number is less than or equal to that number. You can see here, before going to the next point, you can see here that whenever we see the factors, that is 1, 2, 3 and 6, whichever number it is, the factors will always be less than that number or it will be equal to that number. You can see 1, 2 and 3 are less than 6 and 6 is equal to 6. So whatever the number it is, the factors will always be less than or it will be equal to that number, not more than that number. It cannot be 7. 7 cannot be a factor of 6. So next point, number of factors of a given number are finite. Yes. The number of factors, if you are told to find the number of factors of any number, it will be a finite quantity, not infinite. You cannot say there are infinite numbers of factors. It can be. It will always be a finite quantity. Say here there are only 4 factors, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Similarly, in other numbers also there will be a definite amount of factors, not infinite number. Next point, one is only number having only one factor. Yes, obviously, one will have only one factor. That is 1 itself. There is no other factor of 1. Now next property is every non-zero number other than 1 has at least 2 factors, namely 1 and itself. Yes. Other than 1 has only one factor, that is 1 itself. Other than 1, all the numbers will have at least more than one factor. So example 2. You have taken here 2. 2 has 2 factors, that is 1 and 2. If it is 3, then it will be 1, 2 and 3. If it is 4, then it will be 1, 2 and 4. So you can see how many how many factors will a number have. It will have at least more than 2, except 1. One will have only one factor. Other than 1, all the numbers will have at least 2 factors. That is 1 and itself, at least. Now moving on. Next point is every non-zero number is a factor of 0. So every non-zero number is a factor of 0. You can see from the example. All the numbers are a factor of 0. If we consider how many factors of 0 are there, all the numbers. In this case, only in this case, if you carefully see, I have given here dotted. Or you can see, if we see it carefully, since it is given all the numbers, all the non-zero numbers are a factor of 0, that means 0 will only have infinite number of factors. Other than that, all the numbers will have a finite number of factors. All the non-zero numbers will have a finite number of factors, but except 0. Since 0 is a factor of all the numbers, so there are infinite number of numbers, so that's why 0 will have infinite number of factors, but only this only the non-zero numbers will have the finite number of factors. Now this is a bit confusing, that's why this property is mostly not given in many of the textbooks, because it creates a confusion with this point. So clear? The next properties of multiples. Let us see what are the properties of multiples. Every number is a multiple of 1. You can see 1 is a multiple. The first term is the multiple. Clear? The first number is the multiple and these are the numbers. So 1 is a multiple of 2 also, 1 is a multiple of 3 also, 1 is a multiple of 4 also, and so on. It will be a multiple of every number. So multiples are, you can say multiples are infinite. We will get this point. Every number is a multiple of itself. Yes, obviously, every number. You can see 2 is a multiple of 2, 3 is a multiple of 3, 4 is a multiple of 4. Correct? So every number will be a multiple of itself. Now every non-zero multiple of a non-zero number is greater than or equal to the number. Now every non-zero multiple means all the positive multiples of another positive number is greater than or equal to that number. You can see one example. The multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8. These are also non-zero and these are also non-zero. And you can see one more thing is that all the multiples either are equal or it is greater. It is 2 is equal to 2, but these other multiples are all greater than 2. It will not be less than 2. It is just the opposite of factors. In factors it was the opposite case. The factors will always be less than or equal to that number, but here the multiples will be always greater than or equal to that number. It will be equal or either greater. Next, the number of multiples of a given number is infinite. As I told you, the multiples will always be infinite. It cannot be finite. For example, the multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12 and it goes on. You cannot say there is any end. It is infinite. Next, 0 is a multiple of every number. 0 is okay. Now one more thing, interesting thing is that 0 is a factor of every number also. 0 is a multiple of every number also. So if you are asked, give a number which is a multiple and factor of every number, then the answer is 0. For example, you can see same thing. We see 0 is a multiple of every number and the result is also 0. Quite interesting this. So the next point is perfect number. So what is a perfect number? A number for which the sum of all its factors is equal to twice the number is called a perfect number. Now from the definition, I know nothing went inside your head, but from the example it will be clear. Here you can see the factors of 6, we already know. These are the factors of 6. Now what if we take the sum of all this? It comes out to be 12. So according to the definition, a number for which the sum of all its factors, the sum of, say the number is 6 and the sum of all its factors, if it is equal to twice that number, 12 is twice of 6. So then we can say that number is a perfect number. Another example you can see, the factors of 28 are this and this. So if we take the sum of all this, we get 56. Sum of all the factors. So since we know 56 is twice than that of 28, so 28 is a perfect number. So for being a perfect number, the sum of the factors should be twice than that of that number. So that's it for today's topic. So you go through your textbooks for better understanding and also practice to find out the factors, the multiples, and also try to find out which are the perfect numbers. So that's it then. Thank you and have a nice day.